What is going on, everybody? BobbyFi, Eric Sheets. We're going to be talking through the Memorial Tournament. And yeah, good week last week, as I've mentioned before, but hoping to do a little bit better this week. And yeah, that doesn't matter where you are for 2 days. You got to get the 4 days, and when everybody shoots overs on the weekend, it's going to be tough to do. Although still some very good results. So, Sheets, any overall thoughts other than, I guess the big story was Rory not calling Jack to say that he wasn't playing this tournament. That's pretty much all I've read about this, outside of trying to find out some plays that I like.
I fortunately did not see any of that, so that type of thing is of literally no interest to me.
I know you hate the narrative. That kind of narrative stuff.
Give me a break. And the other thing is that another thing about last week is that lost in the shuffle was, I don't know if the winner actually had this, but the actual optimal lineup in the lottery had Oswald Cobblepot in it.
The pot getter, yeah.
Yep. So
he was in my other third place one, the $44 for 5 shots.
Really?
Yeah, he was in that one for me.
Nice.
So the pot getter is a real thing. It's
a real thing.
Yeah, the guy's not too bad.
It was good enough for somebody.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But the real story this week is what your lineups will look like with Scheffler versus what your lineups will look like without. And that's as probably going to be the question in all tournaments where he plays, because he just projects that much better than everybody every single time. The only time he won't is maybe when you get like Rory and everybody in there, you know what I mean? But in a situation like this, I mean, and it's kind of amazing when you think about it, when you see guys like Schauffele and Cantlay and Morikawa, Thomas, Fleetwood, all these guys like 4,000 like below him. You know what I mean? Like it's a testament to like just how much better he is, honestly. Like I don't even everybody realized that like he was like just barely even exists. People were talking like on day 2 that he was going to miss the cut. Okay, and he's basically. And he almost put a scare into those guys like midway through the. If he could make any putt like the whole week, he probably wins.
Not only does he win, I definitely win all my tournaments if he wins that, because he was in every lineup that was in front of me. So yeah, you're right. But he's, I mean, look, what is he misses? Going to miss one out of like one cut every few years. That's probably what's going to happen.
Not when I'm playing, he's not.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the most he'll miss is one every couple of years, which is just totally unlike anybody else.
All right, so I guess we'll go tier by tier.
Yeah, here, I'll share my screen.
Okay.
Because I haven't built my golf stuff yet because I was out yesterday.
I built a big buy-in. Actually, I did build lineups, but I didn't really look at what I had yet. What I'm going to do is, again, if I go live later tonight, I might. Wednesday's a good day for that, only because it lets me do the live lineup build for the golf. So maybe I will do that, and I also built some showdown or something like that. Maybe I will do that, even though it's kind of a short baseball slate tonight. We'll catch the end of the NBA game, maybe. And maybe I'll let you know if I'm going to do that.
Yeah, let me know. I always enjoy it.
So do you? I mean, I don't think. Maybe you can. I mean, I built my big buy-ins. I didn't, aside from Scheffler, I didn't get to like any of these other guys. So obviously, if you fade Scheffler and lineups without Scheffler, you're gonna probably want to play one of these. But they are barely a part of my world this week.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be overweight Xander every single tournament. This is he's not going to get the ownership that he would normally get. This is a guy who I don't think he's that far off of being back. I know he's not quite been himself. I don't think it's going to be a major change. So I just would rather be ahead on that play in general. So I'll be ahead on Xander. I'll probably be under on Scotty just because it's just the ownership thing. You give me a 50% owned guy or whatever he is, 40+%. And I just think there's plenty of other ways to build in these things. And just want to remind everybody there, most of the lineups that won the non-lottery last week did not have, first of all, they either didn't have the winner in a lot of cases, or they had they didn't even have the guys in the top 2, in a number of cases. You don't necessarily need the winner to win. It's really important you're not getting that many extra points for being the winner, just for what it's worth. So by that strategy, I think it makes some sense for multi-entry to be underweight a play like Scheffler.
What are you getting in the 9Ks? Because I actually am getting a little bit of this. So I am getting my usual 25% of Fleetwood, locking in his 7th place finish or whatever he's going to get.
Yeah, he was 3rd last week.
Yeah, whatever, same thing.
Same thing. That's awesome. He's great.
Yeah. And and listen, with Scheffler in the tournament, like you just talked about, you don't need like a super ceiling. You know what I mean? Like you need what he does every week, which is play great golf and just not win because someone else plays better. That's really that's basically it. So I am getting like a 25% of him right now, and I am getting 25% of Morikawa right now. I'm not getting really to anybody else of any substance in the 9K range. Actually, that's not true. Look at this. I am getting like 18% Cantlay. You know what it is? It's that I'm only at 34% Scheffler in my current builds. So the 68%, 66% lines have to go somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So Morikawa, Fleetwood, and Cantlay are my highest owned of that whole crew.
Yeah, and I'll probably be a little bit overexposed because, like I said, I'll be underweight on Scheffler, but I'm having trouble ranking them right now. First of all, I love this that people are off the Oberg because of recent struggles. I think recency bias in golf is really stupid. If you're talking about like, I don't know, 6 or 7 tournaments in a row and the guy can't hit the ball in the guy won like 5 tournaments ago, and then because he doesn't play well in a couple tournaments when he's high owned, he's all of a sudden just forgotten about. Give me that guy. So I like the Oberg. I like Fleetwood. I also like Cantlay a little bit. I think if I just had to pick one guy who was most likely to win the tournament from this range, it would just be Morikawa. So those are my main 4. And I, again, like I said, I can sort of be overexposed a little bit by being just a little bit underweight Scotty, and it's nothing about Scotty. It's just I just don't think that. I think there are plenty of ways to play where you don't need to play 40% owned guys who cost a lot more, and you can still get there even if he wins the tournament. Like that's actually in the cards.
Absolutely.
Not 100%, but it's definitely possible. Remember, I always used John Rahm won the no cut. What was it? The Open Championship or was it the U.S. What was it a couple years ago?
You mean the COVID one?
The one that Rahm won, the major that he won. He wasn't on any winning lineup in anything.
Oh, I thought you meant the one where he had to drop out after round 3, and I still got second with him.
And that one, he was still on all the winning lineups. That was the crazy part because he was so far ahead. But it was a big deal because at first they were talking about taking away his scorecards, and people said no, we're in DFS. They announced they were going to keep that stuff, so that's good. All right, 8K to 8,900 range. What do you got here, Sheets?
As far as projections go, I mean, Siwoo Kim, Keegan Bradley, Shane Lowry, Sepp Straka, these guys all look pretty decent. But again, like those are going to be in the probably in the non-Scheffler lineups. I mean, the Scheffler lineups are going to have a bunch of 7Ks and 6Ks. That's the way it's going to be for me. But those would be my favorite of the range. I mean, what do you like here?
Yeah, I feel a little like this. Everybody in this range is sort of like a little lower owned than I would have thought, but at the same time, I get why. Because if you're building with Scheffler, that's just what's going to happen. Okay. Tony Finau's been playing better. I don't know if I really like. I'm desperate to click it, but I kind of like Sung J M in at this course, and I want to say recency be damned. Whatever. I don't really care. I don't think he's that far off either. Russell Henley coming off of a terrible finish. These are the kind of things I like to look for because everyone else has this decided thing that's like, oh, you played poorly, you're gone. Then we saw it with Victor. He won a tournament earlier this year where he was like 3% owned. So I guess that those would be my contrarian ones for the lottery, especially Sung Jae. I mean, not totally contrarian. They're going to have some ownership. Henley and Hovland. And then I think Straka, Lowry, Berger all make a lot of practical sense. So those are sort of the ones I looked at. And I would even say Keegan is probably in that category as well. That's what I got.
I'll tell you,
but not
in the build that I did last night. It's going to change. I mean, I did actually get a full 25% of Berger, actually making him my second highest owned, like right now. So I don't know if it's going to end up being that way. I don't know why. I just feel I'm going to end up with a bunch of these Scheffler plus 6K guys and 7K guys at the end of the day. But we'll see. I'm curious to hear your takes on some of these 7K and 6K guys. You've been pretty good about these, so I'm very interested here.
We'll see. I'm a little I don't want to say less. I'm a little less prepared than usual for this one because I sort of missed a lot of my time yesterday where I could have been going through all my golf podcast notes and looking at stuff. But I guess the 75 to 79 part of it, I don't think there's any rule that says Ben Griffin can't play well after winning a tournament. So I actually do have some interest in Ben Griffin. I think this suits him. Aaron Rye looks like he's going to be pretty popular. I don't think he's going to be as popular as Saberson thinks he's going to be, but I think he's going to be fairly popular. I just think these guys, everything feels very similar to me. So I'll just, the guys who I prefer the most would probably be, I actually think Griffin is one of them. I think Sam Burns and I think Maverick McNeely would be the three that I would choose. Maybe a little star next to Robert McIntyre.
Yeah, so I got three. We counting 76 or 75 to
75.
Yeah, so I actually do have three guys I like a lot in this range, and one you mentioned, and so Aaron Rye. I mean, again, I have him at only a 12% ownership projection.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine it's going to be a little higher. But I have him very, very strong. I have two other guys to throw out there, both initial guys. I have JJ Spawn at 7,500 and JT Posted at 7,600. I think you had him last week, the Posted.
Yeah, I did.
So I like both those guys. I like all three of those guys quite a bit. Like to go with Scheffler's, like Rye, Spawn, and Poston. Those are definitely my favorites of that range, and I like them. And I like them all a lot, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Rye not making the cut cost me the other one. So it was like how it is. You think you have a decided way of you're looking at things, then all of a sudden everything else you're looking at is like totally different because of how the day plays out. But all right, seven. I think that makes a lot of sense. The Poston especially. I don't know that JJ Spawn gets any sort of advantage here, but maybe you just say he's too cheap, I guess.
Yeah.
7K to 7,400. Okay, so Brian Harman completely let me down over the weekend. I also just don't like love him here, but I've heard a couple people mention the little bits that I've listened to. I've heard his name mentioned a number of times. My favorite play and it's by a long ways in this range, and that's Akshay.
Has to be, right?
I don't know what's going on with but why is he not like popular? I really don't understand it. So
if you told me that he was 8,300, I would say you'd probably get like 12% owned Akshay at 8,300. Probably a little chalky. He's very consistent. I'll play him at 8,300, and then he's 7,300, and no one's playing him. It's like I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, it's strange. So he's my number. He's my guy. It's not the course for Min Woo Lee. I'm tempted by the price, but not probably going to get there. The logical cash game one, if you're doing that, is like Andrew Novak, just with how he's played. And then Ricky Fowler's played really. He looks like a totally different golfer over his last few tournaments. So those would be the ones who I would look at a little bit.
So you hit on again when you said that the cash plays. The top projected one for me is the Andrew Novak. I only have him projected at 10% ownership. I imagine it could be higher than that. And the other guy I have, along with Akshay and Novak, would be this guy I don't play too often, but Alex Noren.
He's actually just come back, and he's been really good since coming back. Yeah.
Okay. So
that makes sense to me.
So I'll start with the 6Ks because I usually don't. That's usually not my bunch. But this week it's going to be different. And it's going to be guys that are part of our brand, so to speak. A lot of different ways. So the top of my list, like my top owned guy, below like the top guys overall, is Eric with a C Cole at 6,600. I like him a lot. Then a name that's been, he was on the TV a bunch of times last week. That would be a Bud Cauley at 6,800. Then a guy who's kind of let us down and then sort of tried to not let us down, but whatever. The Ryan Gerard at 6,700. Then what could have been your hero, except for that freaking round 4 yesterday, the other day, was Lucas Glover. He was just killing it. First, he just barely got there on the cut line, and then he just murdered it on Saturday.
Mhm.
Sunday just what, +5 or whatever the hell he was. So I like him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw all these guys out there because with Scheffler you need this stuff. And
Yeah.
I do have one more, Michael Kim at 6,800. So I do like all these guys, and I'm gonna be probably getting a good amount of all of them.
Yeah, I think those all make a lot of sense. And look, again, this is a range that I expect to be. I have a lot of guys to, and they're all viable because these are usually the 7 and 8K guys, and they're 6K for the elevated event here. All right, so Bezadenhout and Thigala. Thigala is probably the most interesting one to me because he withdrew and it's keeping his ownership down, but he's under 7K and he's a guy who can actually win this tournament. So I think it's kind of an interesting way to get a little different. He's not going to get a lot of love. He and Bezadenhout, I think, make a lot of sense. I also, Justin Rose has played this course plenty of times. I think he's very reasonable. I like the Bud Colley. I like the Gracerman. I like the Gerard. I also like throwing in Sam Stevens. So I'm not sure where I'm going to end up in terms of ownership and all these guys. I do like him. I also liked Lucas Glover coming into this week. I love Matty Schmidt as a golfer, like even before last week. I don't think this is like I think I want him like long and sort of different types of stuff. I don't necessarily feel like I need him here. I could be wrong, but that's where I'm at. And then down towards the bottom, there was somebody who I had circled, but I'm trying to remember who it was. Did he play here well before? I don't know why I had these two guys there, but I had Hoagie and Eckroat written down, and I'm not entirely sure why. I didn't remember. It was while I was driving and making little notes, listening to a podcast, and I can't remember.
All these guys can do all right, all the way down to the end. I mean, really, even Snedeker had a good round or something like that.
One of these days at zero ownership, Nick Dunlap is going to have like the round of the day or something, and he's like a guy I wouldn't. Maybe you don't use him for the.
He's the one that won as the amateur last year, right?
Yeah, but he also but he every day it feels like you look up and he's like the worst player, and then he has like a really good rest of his days. Like he's like the guy who's going to win somebody a showdown slate soon or something,
Yeah.
All right, so let's play the game sheets. Let's get it figured out here. Who do you think is winning this tournament? I think this is.
Well, I went first last time, and I took Scheffler and lost. So why don't you go first?
Well, you didn't. I mean, what do you mean you lost? Like, it's hard to get the guy to win.
I was wrong.
The guy who I picked to win didn't even make the cut.
Well, I'm just saying, I had to take. All right, so who are you taking?
All right. Well, okay. I was sort of ready to go second because I wanted you to already take Scheffler because I just don't want to do the chalky thing, even though the answer should be Scheffler. I'm going to go out and say that that Xander actually wins this.
All right. So you know how I'm going to say? I'm going to say Scotty Scheffler.
There you go. Okay.
So we'll snake draft, and I get to take the top 10 guy under 10K to go top 5.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I just does nothing but do this, so I'll just go Fleetwood. Why not?
That's great because that's who I was going to take. So I will. I will take the guy I probably should have said who would win this tournament, and that would be Oberg.
Oh, here we go. Okay. All right, top guy under 9K to make the top 10. Who do I want to go with here? I guess I'll be my projection donkey self and just take my top guy from the range and then say Daniel Berger.
Daniel Berger, okay. Okay. You probably can get pretty good odds on the guy who I'm going to name because he's not in the 8K range. I'm going to say Akshay. I think Akshay has a great tournament this week.
I think that's a great pick, actually.
All right, so we got the Akshay. All right, Sheets. Who under 8K top 20?
That's not Akshay, right?
That's not. Well, I guess you could take Akshay. I mean, at this point, if we overlap on Akshay, it's like I just didn't want to get into where we both pick Scheffler and then we pick whatever. We both pick Fleetwood.
All right, we're just this is fine. Yeah. I'm gonna go with top guy under 8K to make top 20. I will go with Aaron Rye.
Aaron Rye. Okay. And I am going to say I had my guy figured out before, but I somehow have lost him. This is probably not the safest pick, but I'm going to say Sam Burns.
Ooh, I like that. He's that price?
Yes, he's 7,900.
All right, top guy under 7K to make the cut.
Top guy under 7K to make the cut. By the way, we never mentioned Denny McCarthy, and in general, we don't mention him. I just want to throw out there, Denny McCarthy in any of these events is always probably going to be in the top 30. He's never going to probably hurt you. He's probably not going to win you a tournament. Just want to throw that out there. Probably a cash game play. Okay, under 7K, favorite under 7K. I think I'm gonna just go with the guy who I feel a little bit the best about right now, although very tempted to say another guy, but I'm gonna say Bud Cauley.
Top guy over 9K to miss the cut.
Who did you pick for the under?
Oh, Eric Cole. Sorry about that.
No, yeah, that's right. I figured you would. That's why I wanted to make sure I had it written down. Okay.
Top guy under over 9K.
So the cut is not really a cut.
What is it?
I think it's. Let me just double check. I honestly am not even sure what it is this year. I thought it might actually be straight up no cut, or it might be the 10 strokes thing or whatever. Because I don't think there's enough players for there to be anything else. Memorial. Let me just grab it real quick.
It says top 50 in ties.
Top 50 in ties, but there's only like 70 golfers, right?
Yeah, 2/3. That's like legit.
All right. I don't think anybody's going to miss the cut over 9K.
Oh,
but
yeah.
If I had to pick one, which I do, I am going to say Hideki, just because he might withdraw. I don't know.
I'll go Justin Thomas.
That's who I would have picked also. Okay.
And the other thing that we have to do is, let me share my screen for a second.
Yeah. Oh, here, I'll stop my
screen. So let's put a bet out there.
Okay.
So
what is the Akshay odds, I wonder?
Yeah, so we're vibing this. Let's see the Akshay odds, because that's probably we're gonna have to probably try that. Oh my God, look at he's 70 to 1. I mean,
but I feel like he could actually be like 100 and something to 1 here. That's why I was a little surprised.
No, he's 70. I'll tell you what.
Eric Cole.
No, but I'll tell you what.
Top 5 maybe, but not.
The guy who I really legit think can win is the guy that you said that you picked to either winning at second is the Aberg. I think him at 25 to 1 is reasonable.
Well, you could make an argument that this will be the worst odds he'll ever have to win a tournament. It's completely possible because he's on.
We're going to do this. We're going to pick one from each range. I know who I'm taking here. So we're going to go Oberg or whatever. We're going to play him. Then another one that kind of caught my eye here is Matt Fitzpatrick.
Oh, you love this one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to keep trying that one at 180. And then we have to do something down here just for funsies. Okay, you know who can just vibe and win somehow. We're gonna vibe. Boy, I was thinking of Justin Rose.
It's kind of interesting.
No, I'm gonna and this guy hasn't really done much in like a while, but I'm gonna go Wyndham Clark.
Oh, actually, at those odds, I think that's not a bad idea.
At 80. So those are our rooting interests.
Always a fan of the basketball players turned golfer.
And I probably have 0 of all 3 of those guys in DFS, so that's good too.
Yeah.
All right. If I go live later, I'll do a live lineup build. Otherwise, we'll all be rooting tomorrow.
Sounds good, buddy.
All right, later.